real quick.
Okay.
That's for common areas. But whenever we get to the question and answer part, load me up with all the questions you have.
Okay.
But short answer is no, this is just for the common areas. And I'm happy to pull up a map of the common areas so you can kind of get an idea of, oh, that's
Okay.
what it's going towards.
Okay.
Um, and you all don't have too much going on over there right now because you haven't been turned over yet. So you don't have too many bills other than it's mostly going to be landscaping and then, of course, the management fee, which is us. And this is per door. So you all, as you grew, started paying a little bit more to manage those, taking in fees and violations and things of that nature. So other than that, you all don't have a whole lot else going on. Like I said, 26,000 in the bank, which is great. Hopefully we can get that number up a little bit after your board is nominated and maybe get some amenities or something out there for you all. But are there any questions about the financials before I move to the next?
I have a question. That's at the end of 24, but we paid 25.
Yes, we're just reviewing the 2024 financials.
Okay.
Yeah, so this won't have anything to do with this.
This one.
Um, oh, we're just moving right along. We're already at nominee presentations. So I'm gonna go ahead and you know what? I'm going to switch this up a little bit because I'm going to be the one who's kind of counting the votes and everything. I want to go ahead and open the floor to you all for questions and before I do the nominations. And I think that actually might be helpful with some of the presentations because maybe they can address some of the concerns that are going on over there. So, yeah, I'm gonna open the floor. Does anybody have any questions or concerns that they want addressed or just want to get off your chest?
Yes, I wanted to mention, I understand that we're going to vote for a board tonight.
Yes.
Have we voted to either keep or don't keep the HOA yet?
No, no. And that's a great question. That's a very common question for Homestead over there. But you'll need to nominate a board first. And once that's established, there are a lot of steps and processes that go along with dissolving an HOA. And I have a little bit of information. I have a PDF of just kind of a breakdown of how that works. And I'm happy to send that off to everyone just so everybody's a little bit more informed on how that works. It is an expensive process, and I believe it'll take about 80% of homeowners. But that is something that you can 100% discuss once your board is established.
Hello, this is Heather Wiley. I have a quick question. I know there's been a little bit of maybe confusion on my part because I see that there's supposed to be 5 positions. But when I had inquired, I was told there was 3 open positions. So is Cases somehow staying involved, or will they be done with us once this is like, what is that
Yeah.
process?
Yeah, so this will be all you guys. This is going to be all homeowners, and it's uh 3 to 5 board members, and so minimum of 3, maximum of 5. So, and some of those can be just acting as a board member, or some of them will actually have, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. So, but there's five that'll be available.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
As a board, we can vote or not, can't we?
I am getting some uh
Feedback.
a little echoing going on here. Um,
So what I asked is, as a
there
board,
you are.
we can vote to keep management instead of doing the management ourselves. Is that not true?
See, that's going to be up to your board. They'll determine if they want to self-manage, if they want to seek other management companies.
Right.
Once the board is established, it's gonna be all you guys. You
Right.
guys are gonna run the show, and it'll be up to you on any of your vendors. If you don't like your lawn company, whatever you guys want over there.
Right. That's what I thought. Thank you.
For those of us that are new to the HOA environment, where do we find, for lack of better terms, the rules, regulations, requirements? What is the common areas that we keep hearing about? I did not get any documentation that I'm aware of concerning the HOA. I would like to have a document of some sort that explains the current regulations or rules, and a little bit of information about the area and the common areas as described in this immediate area.
Yeah. Everything aside from some of the maps, those I can share, those aren't accessible on the portal. But as far as the governing documents, all those CC&Rs, those are on your portal. I was actually just gonna send it to you real quick, but I'm having an issue pulling you up by the name that is on the screen here. So if you would like, my email address is in the chat, amanda@casaoa.com. If you want to send me over an email with that request and with your address in the subject line, I'll send you whatever documents you're looking for, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is Jerry Jackson. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Yes. Well, I see that there were five, for lack of better words, resumes that was submitted for this board.
Mhm.
And I had actually changed my email address here recently, so maybe there was some documentation that I missed. But so we've got five people interested in becoming the board. And I know I had expressed interest to somebody here some time back that I might be interested. I'm retired. I'm a retired retail manager, district manager with Ace Hardware up until about 3 years ago. So whether I'm a part of the board or not is at this point is a relative. But so if we're going to vote, we're going to be voting for, I guess, the five people that submitted their resume, again, for lack of better words. Is that what I understand?
I actually have six people interested, and then whoever is, I'm going to open the floor after they're done speaking. And anybody who is not already on the ballot, if they're like, "Hey, I want to be on the board," anybody can speak up, introduce themselves. I'll throw them on the ballot, and so they'll be additional if that's the case.
Okay, yeah, because I have a lot of questions, but maybe these questions need to be held back a little bit until the board's established, because what's happened in the past, we've been here for 2.5 years as a homeowner, and I do have some concerns and some input that I'd like to give, but I'm thinking that, if you're exiting the picture, as soon as this board is established, then I guess most of these questions need to be directed to the board or the new board or the new leadership. So,
Well, CASA will still be in the picture. It'll be up to the board, the established board, if they want to keep us or not.
I see.
The board will send us a 30-day notice, if they choose not to. But other than that, we'll be here at least for another 30 days. So, and we're happy to help you as long as we're here. So if you have any questions or really any concerns, this is a great platform or way to kind of express that, because you probably do have homeowners who have the same concerns as you do, and it all being addressed all at once might be a good idea. So, I mean, and that's up to you, but
Well, you flashed up the financial statement, or what I would call a financial statement, based on my past experience, and I'm seeing that, what did you say? We had a $26,000 reserve. Is that correct?
right now you don't have a reserve account. This is all your operating.
That's our operating account. Okay.
Mhm.
And, without looking at it, it would be nice if I'd like to have seen that on a piece of paper in front of me, but to see where our income versus our expenses are going. But up until now, the only thing I'm seeing, basically, the money being used from my viewpoint is the landscaping, if you want to call it that, the mowing, but I'm not sure. Obviously, some of that money went to CASA to support your financial situations, but I'm not sure where the rest of that money goes. So again, that may be something that has to be looked at, a little further in detail, because it wouldn't be fair for me to judge where the money has gone or where it's going to be going, without looking at that and talking to some people. So anyway, like I
Yeah.
said, I had changed my email address, so I'm not sure how those people that have that quote resume out there, how that happened.
Okay. Yeah, we may just need to update your email address in the system. If you
And
wouldn't
that's
mind,
probably it. Yeah,
yeah, if you wouldn't mind shooting me over an email,
sure.
and I'll get it updated in the
Okay.
system for you to make sure you get everything that everyone else is getting.
Do we know,
Um,
do we know how many people are actually on this call or this
uh,
video?
66.
66. Okay.
Yep. You guys have a nice little showing here, so that's good.
I
I
see
have
there's
one
a
quick
few.
question. I've had a copy of the HOA, for quite some time to give me some direction as a homeowner. Just curious, has that applied to renters as well, those rules and guidelines?
Absolutely.
They do.
Um, it is up to the homeowner to make sure that those are enforced. So we address those issues with the homeowner,
I see.
and it's up to them to make sure that their tenant is taking care of whatever violation that may be.
Does the homeowner pay for that annual fee, or is that the renter that pays?
That's based upon their agreement.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, while I'm still on here, without giving anybody a resume or a background, I would like to put my name in the hat on that. Jerry Joseph Jackson. And with that, I'll turn it back to you.
I see there's a few questions in the chat and I think those need to be addressed, but I just had a quick question and it might have been covered. I know we said that speed bumps we would have to go to the county for that. Is that the same for stop signs and children at play signs?
Yeah, those streets in there are city owned. It's all going to have to be approved through the city. It's basically just like all the roads that are outside of your community. They just happen to go inside of your community. So all of that will have to be it'll all have to go through the city.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And just one more. So if we did have a board and we decided we wanted to keep CASA on, could
Mhm.
we have like what we previously have, our rules and everything from you guys that's in the app, but could we also have like extra rules if we think that those rules are a little bit laxed?
Oh, yeah. So once your board is established, all those rules and guidelines, those are all within your governing documents uh, for homestead. So once the board's established, they can review all that and they can get the community involved, and you guys can definitely change those governing documents. It is at a cost. You have to go through an attorney to change all that, but absolutely, anything can be changed according to however you want your community to run.
Okay, thank you.
This is Tammy Henderson.
Yes.
With regard to, it sounds to me like this, the homestead has been in motion or whatever for like 3 years now. Is that true?
Ooh, I
The
think
reason I'm asking, it sounds like this board that we're voting on is the first time there's been a board. Is that correct?
that is correct.
And is that because we're done building finally?
You guys are done. You're ready to switch over. Yeah.
Okay, and so that's how it goes. Once it's complete, then you guys, you want to back away unless we pay you um, to continue on.
Right, right. Our agreement continues with Homestead
Uh,
unless the board tells us otherwise. So we are your management company until we get a 30-day notice.
and then
So
you said until Homestead tells us. Does that mean us
Yeah.
somehow?
yes, until you all say otherwise.
And
Absolutely.
so we are known as Homestead, all of us.
Homestead at the Gap, that is your community.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason I ask, because with regard to issues, we had it wasn't horrible, but on Saturday nights, if I would sit it out in the summertime, I would
Mhm.
hear a bunch of people partying and out, a bunch of neighbors and stuff, and they were drinking, obviously, because they made the comment about it being time to quit. And one of the guys made the comment that, well, you're the president, we don't have to follow the rules. And I thought, well, boy, when we have a meeting, I'm going to bring that up. But from what you're telling me, that's not possible. None of us were a board member or a president or anything until
That,
at that point.
that's correct.
Oh,
Right now, you do not have an established board.
I guess they were just really partying hard or something.
They had too much to drink.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If you don't mind, I'm going to read some of this chat real quick and see if any of this has not been addressed. Common area map. Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. I'll put it on my shared screen for you all. Once I get to it. Here we go. Plat, plat, plat. Let me look in another spot. Could have sworn I had that map. Tracy, are you on here? And do you have access to the map? Because I am not finding it. Um,
Yes, I have it here somewhere. If you give me just a second, I'll upload it
thank,
to the chat.
thank you so much. Okay, while we're waiting on that,
May I ask a quick question?
yeah, absolutely.
For all those that had to get approval, like for fences, landscaping and everything prior, is that grandfathered in when the new board is established?
Absolutely. That's all a part of your governing documents. Yes. I'm so sorry. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything here. Could everyone in the neighborhood be sent the rules via email? Absolutely.
when we vote, will we be voting through like email, or how does that work?
I'm going to send you all a link and you'll just click by the homeowners' names who you're voting for, and that'll populate over and it all kind of does its own little thing for me. The only thing that's going to take a little bit of time on my end is vetting everybody who's voted, meaning I need to make sure that no one's delinquent. Unfortunately, if you're delinquent on your dues, you are unable to vote. And just making sure that they are all homeowners. That's the only thing about doing this via Zoom. You gotta go through and just verify everything.
Fabulous. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you tell us really quickly how many people we might have that are delinquent and how many are current?
How many delinquencies you have? You currently have 25. 25 delinquent homeowners.
And is delinquent from last year, or don't we have until the 31st of this month?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's not including 2025. That's
Okay.
That's the dues for 2024 or previous.
Okay, so as long as our 2024 got paid with our escrow or whatever, or
Yes.
close. Okay, great.
Yes, you'll be just fine.
So if you have 25 delinquent from 2024, what is being done? What is the process being handled for those that have not paid those dues?
And I'll check and see if anything has been done for this for these 25 yet. But so how the delinquency process works, they get a notification, hey, you're past due. Then they are going to get a notice of intent to lien on their home, and they will have 10 days to respond to that. Actually, you all are in Arkansas, so it may be 20 days. I'll need to check. For you all here in Oklahoma, it's 10 days. After that time period has passed, then liens are filed on the home. So that's kind of how that process works. But they do get notified.
So for clarification, for those of us who bought our house in 2024, everything was still due on January 1st for 2025, even if we bought at the end of the year, correct?
Correct. You still have the same same due date.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Amanda, it's Erin.
Yeah.
I'm
Hi.
on. Hi, I'm on in case anybody has any questions in regards to anything regarding compliance. Just FYI, I didn't know if you could see me on, but I did just join in case any homeowners do have any compliance or architectural request issues.
Okay. Yeah, she just snuck up on us. This is Erin.
I'm sorry.
She is the manager for our violations department. So she's a great person to ask about any type of issues or architectural requests. She handles those as well.
Yes.
I know someone had previously asked about architectural requests that had been done being grandfathered. I understand, of course, that would be covered. But what about the instances where they have not done the architectural reviews and maybe have less than quality work done at their homes?
Yeah, so in that circumstance, I would ask if anybody has a circumstance where they know, let's say it's your neighbor and they put a fence up and it doesn't look good, they didn't do it correctly. I would ask for an address, and then I can have our inspector take a look at the work. And I mean our inspector that inspects the neighborhood when we go out to do that routine inspection. They can go and see what has been done, but in that, we would take pictures, and then I actually submit a letter to that homeowner to submit an architectural review for the board to look at what's been done. They can talk about the details of what they've done. And at that point, if it doesn't meet the requirements of how they were supposed to do it, then the board could actually have them take it down because they did it without approval.
Okay, following up on that question, can we as a group be maybe informed if there's anything like that going on in the neighborhood? Or is that something that only the board is made aware of? Like how, 'cause I guess my question would be if that's happened and one person's reported it, and then what if it just keeps getting poured in reports and you're not seeing changes? You know, like, is there any type of
Right. So we do the monitoring of it. So I actually make sure that it's followed through with. So like for instance, when the board is handled, they work with it with me. They are aware of the situation that's at hand, and then I follow up with that homeowner and make sure that they do submit a review. And then at that point, if they if they don't correct the issue and or don't remove it, then at that point they can get fined, and that's of course with board approval. But any violation that's given to any homeowner is not public knowledge. It is not open for the public to see. It's between the homeowner, CASA, and then the board.
I kind
Okay,
of
that
have a
was what
question.
I believed. I just wanted to verify and let everyone maybe
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah. I mean, I work closely with the board members to follow through with a situation like that. A lot of times if a homeowner tells me, well, they did it to code and it's this way, I will say, well, let me talk to the board. And then what I do is I have the board look over the situation, because I can have the neighbor say it doesn't look good at all. And then of course that homeowner's like, but I did it to code. Basically, it doesn't matter either way, they needed approval. So they need to submit for approval prior to doing things. Of course, it happens all the time where homeowners don't read their covenants and they build fences or sheds or whatnot, and our inspector will see it and point it out to us, and then we go ahead and send them a notice and we start the whole approval process as if they didn't ever get approval. And there's a possibility that they would have to take it down. That's happened.
I have a question kind of teetering off of that. So
Sure.
these things that can, these structures, is it only like fences and sheds, or can it be things in the front yard that look not necessarily up to code, but like, how do y'all judge that?
So, well, basically we go from what your covenants say. So, it talks about, obviously there's no, I believe your covenants state no trampolines and no swing sets and all that are allowed in the front yard. That has to be behind the fence. But basically I ask for, when homeowners call and they say, what do we need to submit an architectural review? I say anything that you're going to add on to your property, only because it helps protect you as the homeowner to get that approved, so that we don't have, let's say, a new board that comes in and says, no, we want them to take it down. I can at least
We need
have
a
the
summer
paperwork.
wind, somebody.
What's that?
I'm so sorry. I thought I was on mute.
Oh, no, that's okay. So anyhow, it goes ahead and it provides that history for that board member that got approval, for us to be able to say we have records that they got this approved. And then at that point, the board that's currently running it or the next board that comes on does not have them take it down because of the fact that they got approval. But as far as what's allowed in the front yard, we go by what the covenants say, and any kind of additions, like if you want to expand your driveway, that all needs to be approved. There are
Okay,
even
thank you.
I even have some boards, and this is going to be up to your board, but I even have some boards that require, like, if you're going to put in a front yard garden, they want it approved. So
I was wondering if that was in our covenant.
yeah, it's not in the covenant specifically, but basically it says any kind of changes need to be approved. Some boards don't care about those front yard gardens. Some maybe say as long as it's in like a little planter garden, like in the front, but we have homeowners that have done a whole garden in their whole front yard, and it's taken up the whole front yard. And so it depends on how the board wants to handle it, whether they see fit to go ahead and approach that situation, if they want to do that for the neighborhood or not.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Aaron, someone in the comment
for 1
mentioned.
second?
So sorry, go ahead.
Can I move to just kind of get to everybody introduce themselves as far as who's running? Let's go ahead and get the vote going. We've been on here close to 45 minutes. Let's just finish this up, knock it out.
Well, we still have an hour
Yeah,
and 15 minutes allotted, so.
I also have questions.
Aaron, on here, you kind of answered this question already, but I just want to confirm. Somebody's asking about just planting a small tree.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really in the covenants that talk about it. I'll have to review for you in regards to that, but usually there's nothing much in the covenants about small trees. Again, it kind of depends on what the board feels, is important to the neighborhood or not, as far as what kind of tree. Some boards require that, others don't. So it's kind of on board discretion as far as that goes. But if you have any questions like this that I can't give you answers to right now, and I can look over your covenants and let you know, please email me. You can email me at violations@casaoa.com. That's violations with an S at casaoa.com. And I'd be happy to look into that more for you and get you an answer. And of course, once a new board steps into, we'll get a lot more answers as far as how the new board wants to run things.
And Peyton, yes, we'll go ahead and start while I am counting the votes once they come in. We can continue with some questions and answers. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started on this part, and then we'll finish off with any remaining questions you all may have.
Yeah, and at any time, like I said, you guys can email us. Most of you guys have Amanda's email, and then you can email me if you have anything in regards to violations or architectural reviews. I'm on my email regularly and would be happy to help with any kind of questions you might have besides this call.
I have another
Okay.
question. Can we ask questions to the people who are wanting to be on the board when they do their buy?
Yes, that's perfectly fine. If we can limit it, just to kind of streamline this process, we're going to give the homeowners a couple of minutes just to introduce themselves and speak on behalf of just their background. And then if you have maybe a couple of questions for them, that's just fine. But yeah, that's pretty typical. If you have a question, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and get this started. So first on the ballot, I have Eric. Is it Abate?
It's Abate.
Abate. I knew I was going to get that wrong. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, so I'm first. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Can you see my camera? I can't see my own camera.
We can see you.
Yes.
Okay. That's good. Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Abate. My wife and I have lived here since 2020. We're on Summerwind Road. I didn't prepare a bio for this because I had another topic that I felt was more important that I wanted to cover with my time. And what I'm proposing, if I'm on the board, is I want to make a couple changes that will basically remove the power of the HOA to assess liens and fines to homeowners. And some of you may be asking immediately, well, if the board can't hand out fines and liens, then no one's gonna, mow their grass or pay their fees or anything. And the solution I have for that is, let's use the example of like the trash cans or mowing the grass. If someone refuses to do that, my solution is that we'll send out a third party to handle the issue, whatever it may be, and bill the homeowner that way. So that gives the homeowner the ability to say, hey, do we want to deal with this mess? Do we want to be sent to collections? Do we want to deal with that on our credit? The biggest reason for that is because I want to protect homeowners. Being able to put liens on our houses and our property is very uncomfortable to me. We're all paying a lot of money to live here. So this is also to protect homeowners in the future, because we may have, the best board there is starting out, but in 8 to 10 years, as people come and go, who knows who we're going to have, on the board, and they may do things we don't like. So I see this as a way to protect the homeowners, keep the HOA limited in power, so to speak, but they still have the option to, send homeowners that are not cooperating to collections. They can deal with their credit, things like that.
But then
I'm
the
just,
problem would still exist, and that's the whole point, is to make
well,
them do it instead of just having bad credit. I'm just saying
well,
that's how I look at it from the other side. That the problem doesn't get taken care of; it just gets pushed off to the owner having bad credit. I'm
Hey,
just
I
saying.
well,
This
the
is
problem,
debate.
the
This
problem will be
is just
taken
thinking
care of.
ideas.
The solution is that if let's say they do things that like not mow the grass, that's an easy one. We'll have a third party contractor go out and handle it, whatever it may be, and that'll be billed to the homeowner. So the neighborhood would still look fine. It would, all the appearances and everything would be as they are. But the issues that I have is the HOA in the future being able to target or harass homeowners for whatever it may be, and to send them fines or put liens on their property.
So Eric, when this third party vendor bills this to the homeowner, first of all, we have to find a vendor that's willing to bill somebody that's not agreeing to the work, because obviously it's going to be an issue. Then secondly, are you proposing that the HOA fund the repair and the homeowner pay back the vendor? Because
Yeah, I'm
my
not.
husband's a plumber, my
Yeah,
partner's a contractor. I don't know any vendor that's going to work off of this person didn't do it, so we're billing them.
and how legal is it for them to go on their property to cut their grass without
Right.
the homeowners?
Well, the legality would be covered under our bylaws. They are actual laws.
So if I can say something real quick with this, you guys, your covenants actually have, at least for the mowing, it doesn't have it for anything else, but for like overgrown lawns, it does have that with a 15-day warning to the homeowner that the board can hire a landscaper to go out there and do a force mow on the property. That being said, your current board, they do that if needed, and then they do charge the homeowner. It gets billed to the homeowner along with the violation fee. So in your covenants, it does state that you are allowed with a 15-day notice to give the homeowner a warning that you will be mowing their grass. So that, just so you know, you are covered for that if that were the case, for that the board wants to do
15
that.
days would be a long time for grass.
Well, and there's many neighborhoods that go a lot longer without having their grass mowed, and it impacts the way the neighborhood looks. And so if the covenant says, there are boards that do recommend hiring a landscaper, but we do obviously have to follow by the covenants, which give a 15-day notice. And then usually I ask the landscaper before mowing, obviously see how bad the problem is when you arrive. Did it look like they just mowed? If they didn't, then don't do it.
Yeah, we would
But
obviously
doesn't
need
that
to.
money come out of our bank?
So what happens is it gets billed, so it gets billed to the homeowner, but yes, the money does get fronted by the HOA until that homeowner pays those fees.
Yeah, that's where I don't like
Yes,
us.
and so
That's what I
exactly. So
was speaking to as well.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
like paying for it.
Excuse me.
let's
I
keep on
think
track,
I
and
think
this
we've
can
lost
be
focus on what the objective is here is to allow the candidates to introduce their ideas and whether they have all of the answers or not. We're not allowing the individuals to put their ideas out there before we cut them down and move them to a new place. Introduction, what their ideas are, and who we think the best candidates are, not to debate their ideas at this point.
I agree. Let's keep this moving. Eric, is there anything else you'd like to share before I move on?
That's pretty much the gist of what I wanted to say, just in the spirit of protecting homeowners from a
So
future
that's a big
board,
no.
a future board that may be abusive or, targeting people. I certainly would not want to be a victim of that. And just, you know, I'm about the numbers. I'm about protecting the homeowners and solving problems. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay, thank you so much, Eric. Heather Wiley, you're next.
Hello, everyone. So my name's Heather. I live on Winter Valley. I do want to apologize. I had the wrong year that I moved in my bio. It was 2022. So that's how long my family and I have been there. I have 2 teenage kiddos. I work for Dillard's Corporate in Little Rock, where I handle governance, risk, and compliance. So compliance is something that I am very familiar with and that I do on a daily basis. So for me, the importance of our HOA is to maintain the integrity and the aesthetic nature of our neighborhood. It was appealing to me when we bought here because I didn't want to, when it was new and you pull in, of course you don't look bad. But years from now, I don't want it to be broke down cars sitting on blocks in people's yards and fences that are falling over and dogs chained in the front yards. Those things all depreciate all of our values of our home. And for me, that's the importance of the HOA. Aside from that, we can use that HOA to our benefit as well to maybe get some amenities out here. I know I've mentioned that before, and I always hear back, well, we don't have common space for the amenities. I had even mentioned previously doing some like neighborhood events. Those things are all what make a community a community. Maumelle is very well known for their family nature. Cabot the same way. There's no reason we can't have that right here in our own community at Homestead and create those memories for our kids and even our grandkids when they come, years to pass. So it's important to me that we maintain the HOA. Yes, as a board, we will be able to make changes and address these at a more local level. Not trying to down CASA or anything, but I think a lot of us have had a negative taste in our mouth simply because they were out of state and we feel like things weren't handled. But we are a brand new neighborhood, and we can either keep dwelling on the things we didn't like, or we can step up as the board, come together, and make the changes that we want in the neighborhood. And I look forward to being a part of that.
Thank you, Heather. Does anybody have any questions for Heather? Okay, we're gonna move on to oh my goodness, Vicky Lee. Did I say that right?
It's Lee, like Keith with an L.
Lee. Okay, good. Okay, go ahead, Vicky.
So I'm interested well, first of all, I've been here since October 2021, and I have I'm probably on the other end of the spectrum. Most of our families here. I'm single, I'm retired, I'm a senior citizen, and I'm interested in keeping up our property values and not singling out anyone in particular, but being fair with everyone. We do have some issues that probably need to be addressed, minor issues, I think, comparatively. But as a board, we've got that right to do that. I have served on many boards before. I've been on, I think, 3 other homeowners associations in communities that I've lived in the past. I've been the treasurer for my church, for a nonprofit thrift store in Fairfield Bay. One other one, my daughter's high school band. So I've got experience being a board member and working well, I thought, with the other board members. One of the things is, I'm not sure we can get rid of our HOA, mostly because we have common area, we have mailboxes, we have things that cost money. The mailboxes are not paid for by the United States Post Office. They're paid for by our neighborhood. If our mailboxes were to get run over and we didn't have anybody responsible, or we didn't know who did it, we as a community have to pay for that. So if you don't have an HOA, what are you gonna do to be able to pay for them? I have to say I agree a lot with what Heather had to say, and I'd be proud to serve on your board of homeowners homestead at the Gap.
Thank you, Vicki. Does anybody have any questions for Vicki? Oh, okay, we're gonna
Yeah,
move
I'm
on
sorry.
to.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Can I
go
ask a
ahead.
question? We live on Sun Drenched, and I just wanted to know from the last two people that the last two ladies that spoke, how do you feel about the divide between the upper and the lower?
I'll go first since I'm still on here, but I don't see there's any divide. I mean, I know that it's the oh, let me first say that I'm on Winter Valley, which Heather is also on Winter Valley, I noticed. But you know, the new part is just as important as the old part. And I think we can bring each other's unique circumstances to being in the newer area with the older area. And that's it.
I have a question. How do you feel about investors being in our neighborhood?
Hi, Troy. I'm going to go ahead and answer because I didn't get the last question that Vicki just answered. So I'll do that and then I'll hit Troy's question as well. Um, so for me, as far as a divide between the upper and lower, I do think that they almost feel like two different worlds. I think just because you don't have to access any of that. But I also feel that way about Winter Valley because we're like our own street. We're not connected to anything. However, I do make a point to drive through the neighborhood and look at things. And I do think that if we did some type of community involvement, we could make it more like a community. You know, even if it was things such as progressive dinners and such to get people to where they know each other. It makes it a better environment for raising kids. You know, if you know that, hey, if my kids are over the hill, and I'm worried, I can call Sally Sue and she can tell me what's going on. You know, I want that hometown feel here. So I think that's just something we need to work towards. And Troy, so I will be honest, I'm not a fan of the investor Airbnb type business because this is my home. And so I view it as a home, not a business. However, with that being said, I have spoke with Troy. Troy is an investor. He has multiple houses on my street. And because he has worked with me to build that relationship, and Troy, I'm just going to kind of throw you under the bus here, but he had a renter across the street from me that was horrid. And we had issues. And I was able to get a hold of Troy's number. I called him and he was open to discuss that with me. We had never met, we had never spoke. We worked together to address that issue, and for that, I feel like you're a responsible homeowner. Therefore, I can't fault you for the fact that you have multiple homes and that you're running a business out of them as long as you continue to treat it like a home, which you do. And I respect that. So I don't know if it's as much an investor concern for me as it would be a respect for the community concern. And I think you're doing a good job at that.
Can I speak to the concern about investors in the neighborhood? Um, my name's Colton Taylor. We live on Summer Breeze. I have no interest in being on the HOA. I've just heard this topic brought up on the Facebook group, and I wanted to speak to it. So I think if we ever attempted to not allow investors into our community, it would never uphold in court if they decided to, fight it. The reason being is there's already several investors in the neighborhood, so the precedent has already been set. So if we pass a bylaw that says, you can't lease homes in the neighborhood, what are we going to do? Force people to sell their homes? That's never going to uphold. So
Well, let's hold that topic for after we do all the bios and everything, so we can get your board set in place. And then maybe we can discuss that while I'm counting this up. You all feel free to talk amongst yourselves. But let's go ahead and get this voting process started. And then we can pick that back up if that's okay. I'm going to move on to Jessica Robinson. You're next on the ballot.
Hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've lived at Homestead at the Gap for about 2 years now. I'm on Summer Breeze for anybody that doesn't know. I work as a construction senior accountant and have done that for most of my career. Main issues in this right now, it seems like a lot of people don't see the value in an HOA, but the truth is that we haven't even had the opportunity to provide that yet, or to even have that come into fruition. I don't think it's the HOA's job to inundate everybody with a bunch of rules and regulations, but the fact of the matter is that we do have standards that need to be upheld, and it'd be our job to do that. So I just threw my name in the hat to be on the board because I want to be involved in a community that values home ownership. I think that we can all collaborate and decide what is important to each of us and build a system that works with those values in mind. My goal for this transition is just to create value in the HOA, determine the needs and wants of everybody here, block parties to get to know each other and collaborate more, and just instead of this. What's that? Anyway, just let's get to know each other and try to see what everybody wants, instead of, seems like sometimes we kind of hide on this Facebook stuff, and it creates some animosity and turmoil.
Can you state your name again, please?
Jessica Robinson.
Jessica Robinson, thank you.
But that's all I had.
Any questions for Jessica? No. I have Peyton Clark up next, but I do believe he signed off. I'm going to read what he wrote in the chat just in case nobody else saw. It says, if you want to vote for me for the board, I will be putting your homeowner rights back in your hand and dissolving the HOA. No nonsense, pesky neighbors telling you what to do. No spending money for the amenities we do not have. Vote Peyton Clark.
No.
And he said thanks. So that's kind of what Peyton said. I believe he had a bio as well that I sent out with the others. So, and with him not being here, you are unable to ask any questions, but I at least wanted to read that. Next on here is Russell Brittenham. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Russell. Okay. Doesn't sound like Russell made it, so Brian Burleson.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brian. As some people have mentioned, about the upper and lower part of the neighborhood, I and my family, we moved in December of 22 up on Spring Ridge in the newer part. We've watched all of the newer part being built. We've got to meet a lot of people, watched a lot of things, talked with a lot of people from Roush Coleman, you guys. I believe that we should have representation from both the lower and the newer side, because, sometimes we don't know what's going on down there. They don't know what's going on up here. It kind of does feel like two different worlds in a way. A little bit about me. I'm retired. I'm a disabled veteran. While I was in the military, I lived in military housing, which is some of the strictest rules you can think of. I've dealt with some of that. I've lived in Florida, been in HOAs down there. My situation is, we just need to get along. You can't pick your neighbors, you can pick your house. Just let's come to a sensible solution and work on it, and just come to an agreement. That's about all I've got to say.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for him?
Is he for an HOA or not for an HOA?
I'm for whatever majority of the homeowners want. If majority of the homeowners don't want it, I'm okay with it. If majority want it, I'm okay either way. It's just, let's just come to a simple agreement with everybody. You can't make everybody happy. We
Exactly.
know that. So whatever the majority wants, I'm for the majority. That's the go. And there's some rules that we have right now that does need to be changed, like the trash can situation and the topic. And I think, Aaron, you brought that up about the landscaping violation. And I'm sorry, we got a violation because in the rules it says about the landscaping. Well, what's the definition? Landscaping can be anything. We planted some trees and everything, and we got approval for it. So it's just there's some vague definitions in there that need to be changed.
So do you live on the upper or the lower?
I live up on the upper.
Okay.
I think everybody else on the board that
Well, I know the
spoke,
two ladies were on the lower, but okay.
I think Eric's on the lower, if I'm not mistaken, and well, I think most everybody else is on the lower side.
Okay. But you are on the upper. Okay, good.
I am up on the upper, yes.
Okay, any other questions before we move to our last nominee? We have one more. Okay, I have Jerry Joseph Jackson. You are up next. Jerry, are you still on here? I know he was earlier.
Guess he left.
Oh, okay. Going once, going twice before I remove you. Okay.
Bummer.
Okay. Well, looks like you guys have, let's see here.
You have one more, Amanda, that's actually Paris Terry. Looks like she would like to speak.
Oh, is it in the comments? Did I miss
Yes,
it?
yeah, sorry. I know you're busy looking at other stuff, so yeah, it's in the comments.
Yeah, sorry. I kind
Oh,
of
I'm
came
sorry,
in the
Chris.
last
Yes,
minute.
hi.
Paris. Okay.
Um,
Okay, go ahead.
so first of all, for those of you that haven't had the chance to meet me yet, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Paris Terry. I'm a 27-year-old homeowner since January of 2022. I have 3 dogs and a cat and about 10-year tenure in retail and customer service, with a background in project and people management. I'm very big on group consensus. Like the other gentleman, Brian, said, you can't make everyone happy. My ideas are to look out for whatever's the best benefit for the HOA as a whole and to focus on the best interests of all involved, particularly in the financial, familial, and environmental standpoint. I value community, and the ones that we have built are only starting. It can grow, and we can push it there. It's all about where we value it and how we want to proceed. I just know that a society grows great when old men plant trees in the shade they will never sit. And I also believe if elected into the HOA, that open communication and transparency whenever it comes to decisions and that kind of thing, an open space for homeowners to raise their questions directly for the HOA to consider would be very valuable and key to, I think, establishing a good amount of trust here. No one here knows everyone, but I hope to one day. I also live on Winter Valley, and I will say, from a divide standpoint, it's kind of weird sometimes because, like, I have an SUV, and so I'll be driving like 35, and I'll have someone tailing me for a bit just to turn off down summer after a while. But I'll also say that I appreciate still, nevertheless, that everyone here has helped build the community we have. And I don't take it too much to heart because I get also wanting to get home after you get off work. You know what I mean? Sorry, I cut it a little bit short, but that's my time.
Thank you,
And
Paris. Does anybody have any questions for him?
well, I do, just the point he's making about the last two people, you can't please everybody. And that is sometimes why there is a need to have a board to bring people together, because if you leave everybody to themselves, things can get a little crazy, and we don't want that.
Paris, what house number are you at on Winter Valley Cove?
I'm 19, Troy. I'm right across from you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
It's no problem.
Okay, any other questions before I send over this link for the ballots?
There's a few more, Amanda, that are on the chat that are wanting to speak up.
How am I missing this? I'm trying to pay attention to
That's
this.
okay. I don't want to keep it interrupting you, but yes, it looks like Robert, if Robert wants to go ahead and chime in and speak up if he's ready.
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
Robert.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
I am not seeing this. Can you give me your first and last name, please?
Robert Gray Hightower.
What was your last name? I'm sorry.
You can put Hightower. It's fine. I have two last names, but Hightower is I mainly go by.
I'm not seeing him showing.
Okay, Robert, go ahead.
You don't see me showing, like I'm not showing, or
Well, whoever is on the call, there's a green lighting around their name, so it's real easy to say, okay, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm seeing you. I'm seeing you now. Sorry.
It's okay. Yes. So my name is Robert. So we live in Curly Leaf. Been here for a year and some. Bought in 2023 August. So, me and my wife and three kids and a dog. So my thing about I want to run for HOAs because I've always been told a lot of bad things about HOAs. Like, like I said, people pestering you about, fees about, like I said, the trash can, cars parked in the road, just a lot of things like that. But actually living and actually first time buying a house, I love to keep my value of my things up. So in the perspective, I actually started liking an HOA, but still not as the fact of, like I said, pestering people. I'm not the type, or I've always been away from that type where, you complain about, oh, your trash has been out for a day too long. You're planting too much trees. We buy these houses, and I bought the house here because I wanted to be in the county, and I wanted the freedom of doing stuff to my house as well. So I understand people, like I said, planting trees, planting landscaping, doing stuff to the backyard, front yard, stuff like that, but to an extent, not going overboard or making it seem too much. But I would give people a fair chance of listening to them. And like I said, just main thing is I want to keep the property value of our neighborhood up. I don't want people to, trash their yard, and now all of a sudden we just start letting people go. So that's why the only reason I don't want to let the HOA go. I understand everybody's opinion about letting it go because people don't want to be pestered about all these fees, but I understand the reason of an HOA, and the HOA has to be that bad guy because you're not going to go to your neighbor and tell them, hey, put in your trash. Hey, do this. Now you two are going to be back to back and going against, and now you two have problems calling cops on each other, violence, whatever, stuff like that. So we don't want that. We want to be like I said, community. So I think I would be a good candidate as a fair listening, and just a good neighbor. I love helping out. I love listening to people. I love helping people. So that's the only thing. Respect me. Respect. I respect everybody. Everybody should respect everybody. And like I said, just we can all just try to get along.
Okay, are there any questions for Robert?
Oh yeah, definitely. I saw somebody say something about power. I don't want power. Like I said, I just want everybody to respect everybody and like keep the value of the neighborhood up. Because I want to keep this house until it until I can give it to my kids, and my kids will give it to their kids. So that's my goal, to keep my property value up. So I ain't got to worry about, oh, now I lost money. So
One thing I want to mention is, that the HOA doesn't have a lot of power in the fact that anytime you make changes to the rules and regulations, you have to have a vote to the community. So it's not, they can't make rules and regulations willy-nilly. They've got to have a pretty good vote to have it approved.
Yeah, that is true, but they can fine you. And you have
that's
to dispute
okay.
that.
But if it's reached the point that a person is needing to be fined, then there's an obvious issue, and there's been ample opportunity to correct said issue.
Agree. Yep.
There
And
is, but there is no guarantee that there won't be bias unless there's a third party involved. That's just a fact.
And I can discuss this more when Amanda's doing her counting of the votes. I can actually talk about this more, so that we don't hold up the voting. But I can go over kind of what the board can make calls on and voting and changing covenants and all that stuff, if you want to hold off on those questions. Susie, were you still around? Are you wanting to throw your name in the hat there?
I have Susie and Gracie. Were you wanting to as well? Did I read that correctly? I added those two names.
Yes. I'd like to throw my name in. My name is Susie Holt. I live at 25 Sundridge Trail. I am a quality control supervisor for a local business. West Rock. But I am interested in a couple of things. The first thing is, one, I want to maintain to make sure that my house stays what it's worth. At first, I was going to tell you that I'm against the HOA. I am not, but I do believe that some of the rules and regulations are excessive. All of them can be evaluated and we can work through issues. However, my most important thing is, one, to make sure that our homeowner value stays where it is. And as we know, the HOA increases the homeowner's value to their home. That's the first thing. And I think that is important. I moved into this neighborhood and the builder I don't want to start with that. The builder, we didn't get all of the necessary information, or we didn't understand it. So let's put it like that. And that's why I was asking so many questions about the regulations, the requirements, and basic maps and things like that. I think that for me, it would be about keeping the value of our homes up, keeping our community safe, as well as trying to, it seems like there is animosity. I've only lived here 1 year. I have been in the government. I was a government controlled quality control inspector, and I'm very used to regulation and requirements, but you have to find the gray. And I think I'm good at finding the gray between the black and white and finding things that make it work. So I just, would like to throw my name in the hat and be considered for one of the positions on the HOA board.
Thank you, Susie.
Does anyone have any questions for Susie before we move on? Gracie, were you interested? I think I read that on here. Just want to confirm.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I'm gonna start off by saying I have absolutely no experience working on an HOA or really even like a leadership team whatsoever. But I've been in the neighborhood since July of 2020. We were like one of the first 4 houses here, me and my husband. We have 2 dogs, no kids. But during the day, I'm a therapist. I work for Bologna School District and I'm the therapist for the district. So I will say I will say that my house has continued to increase in value since we've been here, and I would like for it to continue that way. Um, so I do see benefits to the HOA. I would like to continue to have one because it sets guidelines for the members that live here. And yeah, I have no interest in disbanding the HOA.
Thank you,
Gracie,
Gracie.
I just want to. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
You are on the upper side. You're on the first street, right, Gracie?
Yes, we're on Summerwin. So whenever you drive on the sign, we're the first road on the right.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to make sure I had the right Gracie.
Yes, yeah. We're on the road that had the model house.
And that's
Okay.
where that's lower, right?
I don't know.
Upper is the newer stuff, right?
I haven't really been told the upper and lower terms.
Well, just based on this meeting.
I'm barn cat, so I'm upper.
That's what I thought. Same here. I'm barn cat. So yeah, I just want to make sure I was correct. So you are lower. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Can I say something real quick?
Me?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
So there's a lot of language going around about upper, lower, divisive. We live on Curly Loop. Can somebody elaborate to me? Because we're really hyper fixating on this.
You're middle.
Yeah,
And I'm very confused.
Let's hold off on that real quick. I want to go ahead and get this ballot sent over to everybody so that you can vote. Send it over to me. I have to calculate everything, make sure everybody's in good standing, all that. So it's still going to take me a little time to do this. So let me go ahead and send this off to everybody so we can start that process. And while I'm calculating everything, you all can have questions and answers and kind of discuss everything you need to, okay? I am. So I'm going to attach a link.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Into the chat.
Into the chat, okay.
So is it just voting for who actually is on the board, or do you vote for positions, or can you explain what the voting does, please?
It is, you're just voting for who you want on the board. It's actually at the first board member meeting is who those board members determine what positions they will hold.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Am I able to get a recap? I've been working, so I've been in and out of who's who.
There we go. Got it. Okay. I just sent you all the link. Click on that link. It'll prompt you over to the ballot and you can vote from there and it'll pop over a message to me. So
It's not working on my
It
end.
says it doesn't
not
take
longer.
responses.
I don't have a link.
Goodness. Okay.
Yep,
Let me
that didn't work.
Let me try again.
Amanda, I think I know why.
Why?
So, hold on. I'm just trying to see if I can get into it.
I'm on
So
my
it
end. I'm
opened up
seeing it in the chat twice, but nobody else can see it. The link
So
doesn't
I
work.
opened it up, Amanda, and it says it's saying that the form homestead at the Gap turnover is no longer accepting responses. Is that what everyone else is seeing too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That helps. I fixed that. I got it.
Thank you.
I figured letting you know that you'd know what to do.
Yep, thank you so much. There we go. That should work for you guys.
Okay. Indicates required question. What the
So
heck?
you're going to need to fill out an email address, an address, and a phone number.
I didn't get anything.
Amanda, did you put it in again? Because I don't. Oh wait, hold on. Let me see. It does look like it as at 7:27. If you go back on your chat at 7:27 is when it was sent in.
I got nothing.
I don't know how to get.
Okay. Goodness.
Is everybody able to get on, or are there issues?
I got nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't see it at all on.
I see
on the-
Casa HOA just went away.
How do I get?
Okay.
Open up your chat.
Okay.
If you're just seeing the boxes pop up, you're not going to see it unless you have
Scroll
the
all the
chat.
way down.
Mhm.
At 7:28, everyone should be able to see that link right there.
Nancy,
I don't see any link.
the link in the chat.
Are you able to open up? Does everybody have their chat open?
It's in the chat, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So if my husband's
Yeah, I got in.
if my husband's email is the one you guys kind of have, is that why I need to actually put my email on the second?
We just need an email to make sure that we are tracking who voted, and it's 1 vote per household. I'm not sure what I was a little late to the game, but it's 1 vote per household.
Okay,
Correct.
so I will go ahead and tell my husband I'm voting.
Yes.
Amanda,
And I'm getting responses in, so you guys are doing great.
I don't see anything.
Amanda, did you get my
Are
vote?
do you see anything on the chat at all?
I see nothing but what was on the screen already.
Yes, Vicki, I got yours.
Okay,
How
good.
many do we have? 5 votes? Is that the deal?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't, just to make sure, if you have a chat and nothing's there, maybe close it out and then go to the bottom of your screen where it says chat and click on it, and maybe that'll help refresh it and bring it up.
I don't see where it says chat.
Okay, at the bottom, are you on your phone or are you on a computer?
I'm on my iPad.
Okay. At the bottom, it should be next to like participants
What?
and
You
like
just
share
took away
screen.
my
It's in between
thing.
that.
Same spot as where you mute yourself.
Yes.
If
It's
you
just
don't
over to the right of that.
Yeah, if you don't see it, just tap on your screen at the bottom.
Hold on.
We're supposed to receive an email, correct, Amanda?
I'm sorry?
We're supposed to receive an email for voting?
No, it's in the chat.
In the chat.
Yes. There's a link in the chat, and I can post it again. I'm happy to copy and paste it so it's fresh. Or whatever I just did.
Okay.
There we go.
And then please just remember, it's 1 vote per household.
If someone didn't make it onto the call, are we allowed to share the Google link with them to vote?
I see the picture where they're talking from. Yeah.
Homeowners need to be present in order to vote. So if they're not on the call, they are not able to vote.
Okay, thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
When I touch that, it goes to the screen.
We're getting there. I've got 42
Vicky,
votes so far. So
Vicky, let me see if I can send this in a text to you. Is that you, Vicky, that's having the issue?
No, she's trying to help me.
Oh, okay. Well, who's, can you tell me what name?
Nancy Follett.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that either.
I'm not muted. I have people that are access or have accessed the meeting from their phone, and they're saying that it doesn't allow them to go to the Google link from an iPhone.
I'm on an iPhone and I
You
believe,
got it?
well, if Tammy or Dan Henderson's vote came through, it said your response has been recorded.
okay, then I received it. I have
Okay.
42 or almost 50 now that I'm going through.
Okay.
But if
Okay.
it says it, then you should be just fine.
Okay.
Nancy, can I get your address? I'm gonna see if I can have if I have your cell phone number in here, I can text you the link.
White_rabbit.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
White_rabbit.
I'm your email. I'm sorry, your address, your home address.
14 Barncat Way.
Okay. Let me just see real quick if I have this, and let me see if this works.
Oh.
Okay, Nancy, I just sent you a text with it. Can you go in and see if you can open it that way?
Hold on. Okay.
Did it open for you?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. If anybody else needs that, you let me know.
Hey, Erin, did you see where Mel is the one trying to vote? It's not letting her in.
Oh, let me see.
I think she's at 54 Winter Valley, but she's hit you in the chat.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was
43. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What was the address?
43 Winter Valley.
Okay. Okay. I think it might be her husband that's on the property. Does she want me to send that him a text?
Benjamin Othman.
Yes, Benjamin.
Yes, that's her husband.
Yeah, okay. I will send it over to him right now.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you for helping.
Did you get mine?
Okay, let me see.
Amanda, you're on mute.
Mel.
Hello.
Mel, are you Are you still having issues? I'm sorry. I see that on the chat. You asked if I could email you the link.
I got it figured out. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I'm trying to play catch up here. Okay, again, if anybody is having issues opening it and needs me to text them, please speak up, and you can give me your address and I can send you an email or a text with it, with the link.
Did mine come back?
Amanda, can you tell me if hers came in? Do you see?
Who is it? Hold on one second. Hold on one second, please. Okay.
It would be for the 14 barn cat.
Hold on one second. I'm doing something real quick. Oh, what was that address?
It's 14 barn cat. It would be for Nancy.
Okay. All this comes in. I don't see names. I just have addresses. So just so you know.
Exactly.
14 barred cat. I do have it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. 56. Which that still could be everyone if there's multiple people in a house that are on here. So
Yeah, there is with our house.
yeah. So I'm gonna continue cross-referencing everything, making sure everything's good. If you guys want to continue with your questions, and I'll let you know when we're ready, okay?
I was going to mention something while we were waiting for her to kind of watch things and tally the votes. Just so everyone's aware and the possible new board members. Basically, what happens with the covenants, if there are certain rules that the board feels not necessarily for CASA to issue, let's say, violations to homeowners like trash cans. We do have some neighborhoods that even though it says in their covenants that the trash can needs to be out of sight from the streets, the board has allowed them to be on the side of the home. If this raises a big concern with other homeowners who want it to be out of sight, then at that point needs to go down to a vote. But obviously things like trailers, that's a big thing. So to allow trailers or boats or something like that that could cause an uproar with some homeowners. Some homeowners don't mind that. So it's really up to the board to let us know as the ones issuing the violations, and we have our inspectors going out there to tell us what you would like to go ahead and have on hold so that we don't issue notices to homeowners for certain items.
Aaron, I have a question. Is there a quorum involved in the voting tonight, or does that not matter since we're having a turnover?
I'm sorry, Vicky, can you repeat that?
Is there a quorum for tonight's
It
meeting?
It looks like
apply for a turnover.
Yeah, so tonight's just the turnover, and then there will be another meeting. The board will get together to have a meeting to discuss what positions each board member will hold. And also we will send over a whole packet of everything the board needs up front to discuss. One of the things will be a schedule for issuing notices, and basically how you want to go about, how the board wants to go about setting that up. If they want to find anybody, I need to know that. There's certain things, or if they don't want to find, I mean, there's certain things that we'll find out after the board has time to discuss a lot of things at their first meeting, but there could be multiple meetings that are done before there's actually something, on the books for what the process will be. But it's really up to the board. CASA just works for the board. So however the board directs us to do things is what we do.
And then at that point, us getting an updated, because I've read everything when I bought the house. So if there's changes, addendums, however you're going to put it in there, how will it attach in the portal or what?
So in order to make to make changes to covenants, that does need a neighborhood vote. And typically it's like 75-80% of the neighborhood needs to vote in order to make a change. And so at that point, it'll be, usually a notice will go out to the homeowners to say that there's going to be either a meeting to discuss these possible changes, or there's going to be ballots sent out for these changes. And then once it gets voted on and known for sure what's going to happen, at that point, there's communication that happens with all the homeowners to let them know that the covenants have changed for the way that it was voted. As far as vendors, that's up to the board on as far as what vendors they use and their process that they might set up for issuing notices to homeowners or what they do with liens. All of that is up to the board. That is not up to the neighborhood as a whole.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And then you'll let us know, like, if it didn't make it to a vote because 75% of the neighborhood didn't participate or something.
Yeah, basically it would be that, I mean, it depends on how the neighborhood does it. So if you're just bringing one item to the table to try and vote on, at that point, yes, it'll be, there'll be communication on that one item. But I've had a neighborhood try and change 18 items at a time, and it's a lot to do. So what we did is we went ahead and said, if it got a vote to change, then we would let them know that it was going to be changed.
Okay. Wow.
But again, this is the board gets to tell us how they would like us to communicate with the homeowners and on this subject. And basically anything that goes on, it's a lot of things get communicated with the board. What are the board's thoughts on this? How would they like us to handle this? It's, the CASA doesn't make the rules, the board does, and we just do what they say. We are a vendor.
Okay.
Somehow I managed to forget to do a couple of things yesterday, but we're doing it now. So clearly, I can flex out of like state. That is obvious now.
Does anybody have any other questions as far as anything is for the board, the potential board, or how things run at CASA, or any kind of rules that are in your neighborhood?
How many actual people are voting tonight?
For the ones who get it the most important.
I'm not sure what that was. It's 57 and I am finished. So just give me a few minutes. I'm going to write down the names of your new board. Just give me a few more minutes.
There was also a question earlier where someone had talked about, or I don't even know if it was a question, maybe more of a statement, that someone talked about the overgrown lawns and how it's kind of ridiculous on going after overgrown lawns that they're not very overgrown. Really, that's again something that's up to the board to say, hey, the covenants say 6 inches. So it's really, as far as the board goes, they can say, hey, well, we want to make sure that all homeowners are keeping appearance of the property. And so even if it's not 6 inches, if it needs edging needed and all that stuff, then we go ahead and we issue notices. Where other boards are like, unless it's really overgrown, we're gonna let it go, because they get to it. It just might, they might be out of town for a few weeks or whatnot. So it depends on how the board wants to interpret the covenants and how strict they really want to be as far as upkeep of homeowners' properties.
But just an example, to me, a good homeowner, if they were going away for 3 weeks, might shoot out an email to the board and say, "Hey, y'all, we're going on vacation for 3 weeks.
Yes.
Don't take my house away from or jokingly,
Absolutely. We always ask, and when I speak to homeowners, I regularly say, if you can just communicate with us what's going on, then I can at least let the board know and make sure that they're okay with it. So someone might say, I'm going to be out of the neighborhood for 3 weeks, and so I just want to give you a heads up. And I say, okay, great, I'll take this to the board and make sure that they are aware of this. And then that's when I take it to the board and let them know. And so they might say, don't worry about if you see their house in an inspection that's overgrown, that we don't need to send notices because they've given us a heads up. Or someone that says, hey, I'm moving some stuff out of my garage and I'm gonna have a trailer there for the weekend. Okay, great. Let me take it to your board and let them know that this is the case. And then I go ahead and get back to that homeowner and say, the board said that that's okay for you to have it there for the weekend. Really, the biggest thing for us is communication. If you communicate with us, we can communicate with your board, and everybody is open on as far as what's going on.
And to me, if you bought a house here, you knew there was an HOA. And I guess I don't understand why you would buy a house here. And, even though I think some of the rules are just so ridiculous, it makes me laugh. But now that we're going to have a meeting, I'll probably myself bring some of that stuff up and say, hey, you guys, are we really going to keep this rule? And like some people said, if you get outvoted, then again, that's part of a democracy. You can get outvoted.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I have a neighborhood that I deal with regularly that has homeowners with trailers, and a lot of them are gardeners, so they use them every single day. And it's a big hot topic in the neighborhood. And they actually took it to a vote and they still got outvoted because majority is that people had bought into the neighborhood knowing that the covenant said no trailers, and they were wanting that, and so therefore they actually got outvoted. So
right,
it really comes down to the neighborhood vote and what majority wants as far as changing any rules.
Right.
Do bylaw changes have to be reviewed by an attorney, or is it just vote?
So basically, not to change it, you can have the voting be changed, meaning the voting can happen, but to have them write them up, we do recommend an attorney write it up so that it's done correctly.
And
Okay.
I was going to add that a lot of people are about HOA into closing, and I am one of those people. And so had I known that, I think I would have made a different decision or a different neighborhood, because I just feel like I'm paying all this money a month for my home, and then here comes my neighbor or somebody telling me, hey, you can't do that, you can't do that. So to me, it kind of feels like I'm in prison in my neighborhood. And I don't think that's fair to a lot of people, especially with the mortgage that we pay.
You didn't notice the line item on your paperwork that said $135 HOA fee?
We were told that. We weren't told that until closing. It was like closing when we found that out, when we were actually doing our close paperwork.
Right. Yeah, I would be mad at my realtor personally. Yes, I most definitely would be mad at my realtor.
And I think it's a lot of other people on here that's saying the same thing. They didn't find out until they were at closing also.
They had bad realtors. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
It's on signs. It was on signs coming into the subdivision. $11 a month.
I've never seen that sign.
I've been here since June and I've never seen that sign. So
yeah.
I was told until closing.
Remember, Roush Coleman consistently kept things up and put things down over so much time, and it wasn't just like a consistent thing for them. They were always doing random signs, and then they always had the long time ones for a bit, but who knows what they had or who they did at the end of the day.
Well, I came from Missouri, and I tell you, I paid $238 a month, and that was just for HOA fees. So my $135 a year is nothing.
But just because the fees are cheaper doesn't make it fair. A lot of us did not know. That's just how it is.
1 second, everyone. I actually have a tie between two people. So I'm going to take a phone call real quick because that's the first. So just give me 1 second and then I'll be right back with you all, okay?
Okay.
No, I'm
So how's everybody's day going?
good.
Everybody ready for the weather?
Sure.
I've got my snacks. I've got my food.
I got my pizza. I'm good.
Back up.
Yeah, if you haven't covered your outside pipes and let your faucets drain at night if they're on an outside wall.
Now, we're new housing. Shouldn't we be fine?
We're a rotten house. No, we shouldn't.
Say what?
Last year I had 2 years previously my pipes froze.
Here?
Yes, here.
Oh my gosh.
Last year
not happy.
Last year I had someone come in and he opened up my outside wall and he found that my pipes were very poorly covered. And not only were they were next to the outside wall, not inside, to the interior of the house. That's why they froze. So he ended up putting more pipe wrap on them and foam and putting more insulation in my home.
And you had to pay for all
Okay,
that.
I need to interrupt for 1 second. We're getting into 2 hours here on this meeting. I have 2 homeowners who are tied for the 5th spot on the board. And so what I'm going to do is before I announce the board in its entirety, I'm going to give those 2 an opportunity to speak again, or they can say, you know what, let the other person, whatever you 2 want to do. But those 2 that are tied right now is there are Vicky Leith and Gracie are 2 that are tied right now. So that'll kind of determine that 5th spot for the board.
Do we revote?
So what we'll do, what I'll do is I'll send everybody a link again, unless one of them decides that they want to step down from their nomination. So it's going to be up to the 2. If you would both like to speak again, you are more than welcome. Vicky and Gracie.
I don't really have anything new to say other than, I'm concerned about keeping our property values up, and I've got experience with the HOA process, and I think I'll be fair, and I'm a friend of Gracie, so that's really hard. But
yeah, I was gonna say I feel like me and Vicky have really similar views. And whereas I don't have any experience working on an HOA board, I feel like I come from a unique position because I work with I'm a therapist for school, so I feel like I have a really unbiased opinion, and I'm good with working with people from all different backgrounds. But yeah.
Okay.
I love you, Vicky. I love you.
Love you too, Gracie.
I voted for both.
Okay, let me put this together real quick. I'm going to resend a link now that I know how to. And that will be a lot easier. I've already vetted everybody. So it's just going to auto-populate the percentage. So this shouldn't take too long at all.
Okay. If anybody has any more questions too for me, I'm still here, and if anybody didn't want to email me later with questions, though that happens a lot when you get off and you're like, oh, I meant to ask that. So just anytime you can let us know.
Is it possible to have 6 positions in the event of a tie?
So the problem is that really odd numbers is what would work out best due to voting purposes.
Right. Yeah.
So we need, an odd number. That's why 5 is typically the number. And I believe your covenants or your bylaws say 5. And not that there can't be a 6, but at that point there really should be a 7th because we do need that odd number
Odd
for
number.
voting. Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
This is called the Vicky and Gracie tiebreaker. So I'm going to make this really simple. Say that.
Liana, you said that you had asked for rules and was not emailed any documents. Email me, okay? Email me at the violations@casaoa.com and I can absolutely email you a set of covenants. I have no problem giving you that. I don't know who you emailed before and why you didn't get it, but email me and myself or Sarah, my coworker, will get that over to you.
I have never used this, so I'm going to do this. Okay. Okay. Oh, goodness. Said I was gonna make it's a little bit more than I thought it was gonna be. Hold on one second.
So just to kill silence, is this the longest turnover?
I did a turnover that lasted a few hours. It was 98 homeowners in there. And so it took me a while to count those votes, and we actually had a tie as well.
Oh Lord, okay.
Yeah. So it happens.
Well,
Yeah.
y'all, somebody had asked about like crazy rules. And
Mhm.
I don't know if everybody knows that the actual rule around here regarding your garage door is that it only can be open when you are parking your car in there. That at all other times it has to be closed. And so
Yeah, so
that was one of my rules that I just laughed because it was like, are you kidding me?
there are actually many covenants that we have that say that, and I will tell you, not one of the boards that we work with have us do anything about that, because there's no way to really say if a homeowner just got there, is just leaving,
Right.
maybe their kids are playing in the garage.
Right.
I will say that I do not, there's not one neighborhood that I actually send notices out for open garages. Not that can't
Right.
be done if that's what the board wants to do, but I would say
Right.
it is very hard to determine.
Well, yeah, we can tell that we are out front a lot. We're a retired couple. And so we see that people, nobody must be arguing about it because it's not been fixed. And then the cars that you cannot have the cars on the side of the road. And I can, now that we have a full neighborhood, I can understand how come they might not like that, because they actually our neighborhood has a lot of people. We live on
Don't come
Barncat.
down Barncat.
Yes, on Barncat, and it really makes the road narrow. And I know the other day the school bus actually had to back up, and I don't know what they ended up doing, but the people, they couldn't get through. So I thought it was kind of dumb rule, but then again, I guess because the whole street wasn't built, I didn't realize how narrow the full, spectrum of the thing. But again, the garage one I thought was pretty dumb about garage door.
And to make it clear about this street rule, this is an issue we have in almost every single one of the neighborhoods that is not gated. If it's not a gated community, at that point the city owns the streets. So that is city jurisdiction. And so at that point, for us to issue notices for cars that are in city jurisdiction, not on HOA property, that would be up to the board if they want us to go after something that is in city jurisdiction. But really, if it's not an HOA property, many of the boards are just saying that they need to, if there's an issue in regards to the parking, or there's a danger, or an emergency vehicle can't get through, or a bus can't get through, then the city needs to be called and told, so that the police can go and enforce those rules, because that is the city streets.
Okay.
If it's gated, then it belongs to the HOA, and then therefore the covenants cover that rule. But because
it's supposed to be getting something to vote, or is she still working on it?
Amanda, do you have the status?
I never got anything to vote with.
No, she hasn't sent it out yet.
Oh, okay. I just checking.
Okay, let me see real quick, Amanda. Yeah. Amanda, I was able to open what you sent, so it has those two homeowners.
I never did. She said
it's oh, I'm sorry. It's on Gracie posted it. It looks like Gracie posted something. Amanda, did you post that? You're on mute, so we can't hear you when you're talking. Sorry. Yes, I put it on the chat at 8:02.
I never got anything.
Well, when people start in that chat, it moves up, so you might have to scroll down to find it.
Okay, let's see.
I never got anything again.
Do you need me to? Is that the same one I had?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get you.
Okay.
Nancy. Okay, let's see.
Okay, I got mine through. Katie.
Okay, we're almost done. You guys, it's all coming in real fast. So this is actually gonna.
Yeah, hold on. I got to scroll back and get that link now, Amanda, because it's way back there. Okay, there we go. So that I can send it out.
Do you want me to vote on the old link?
I've got you right here, Nancy. I'm sending it right here.
Okay.
Okay, I just sent it, and then do I need to send 43 Winter Valley as well for Benjamin? Just in case, I'll go.
I think she already got it.
Okay, she did. Okay, great.
Just waiting on, I think, 8 more votes, unless some have left. And then let me see. Yeah, it looks like we had some people sign off, so that'll affect the votes a little bit. And honestly, this isn't close enough for me to wait for the rest of them. Actually, just go ahead. Yeah, they're still coming in. Maybe it'll make a difference. Okay. All right, you guys have a board.
Yay.
All right. Okay, so it looks like, and I took a look at this real quick. Okay, at 68%, we have Heather Wiley.
Yay.
Yes, so congratulations. We also have at 61% Paris Terry.
Yay.
59% is Brian Burleson.
Yay.
Thank you.
And then we have Eric Abate. Oh, did I say it right? Maybe.
Yeah, you got it.
Yay. Okay, 54%. And then this tiebreaker, let me double check over here, but I'm pretty sure I know what it's going to say because it was kind of. Okay, it looks like we have Gracie as well. So Eric, Heather, Brian, Paris, and Gracie.
Yay, congratulations, board.
Congratulations.
Thank you all
So everyone who has who is now on the board, if you could do me a favor, if you don't have updated contact information in AppFolio, please email me or get on there and update it. Either way, I'm gonna be sending everyone a welcome packet and with some next steps. You're gonna have to have a meeting together to determine your roles and some other things before you have your first official homeowner association meeting. So I'll send you all of that. And does anybody have any questions or concerns before we sign off here?
Just wondering, how long should we expect maybe for a full meeting?
How long until your next meeting? Is that
A
what you're
full
asking?
meeting. Yeah, once they get themselves together, how long is it usually before all the homeowners have a meeting?
Kind of up to your board on when they set your first meeting. But typically, and that'll be up to them if they do monthly or if they're going to do bi-monthly meetings. I'm not sure, which that might be in your CC&Rs. I need to check. But once your board is established and they have their first meeting, we'll send something out to all the homeowners with a notification on the first meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Amanda, can you repeat what you needed us to do that had been voted on? It cut out and I missed what you were saying.
Oh, yeah. So I am just needing you all to make sure that you have updated contact information in AppFolio. So you can either sign on and do that yourself. If you have issues with that, you can just email it over to me. But I just want to make sure all that's up to date. So whenever I email all your next steps, that everybody's on the same page. And I will connect you all via email as well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm putting Amanda's email in the chat.
I did that when I signed on, but there's been yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 8:10, and congratulations, everyone. You now have a board.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Everyone have a great night. And we'll talk to you soon, okay?
It was nice meeting you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.